as if they're equal. And the Republican Party, I don't know how much you know about our system over here, but the Republican Party is considered, even though they won't say it, they get most of their support from white people. But they never talk about race. And do y'all talk about race at all? I mean, are you an what's your position on egalitarianism?
Well, I don't believe in any kind of racial superiority or anything like that. I just believe that there is an entity of race. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have the word in the first place. And we should have the right to our own identity. It's that simple. Chinese people have the right to an identity. I wouldn't dream of taking that away from them, so why can't we?
They use that superiority thing against us here, and I never think like that. I mean, I'm a very common person. I don't think I'm better than anybody, but I mean, I think birds of a feather flock together, and I resent people who try to force me to be with somebody I don't necessarily want to be with. In other words, I believe in freedom of association, and that I'm not going to go out and declare I'm superior to anybody, because I just that's not in my nature. I don't think it's in most people's nature. But they twist that concept of superiority against white people, in my opinion, and it results in this notion that we're forced to live with people that you don't necessarily feel comfortable with.
No, it's true. They do play on this. There's a huge, as I say, psychological mechanism out there to play on our. They've certainly done the homework on the way we think, and they exploit that sense of fair play and that altruism. And this is the product from the media pump out all the time of guilt and responsibility, and how wicked and bad all white people are, and how you should hang your head in shame and you deserve what you get. And really, when you look at the world and a lot of the advancements that have been made, technological, medical, I think really the world has a great deal of gratitude to show to us, rather than to resent us and do us down all the time. And in America, it's particularly bad. You have, as I would refer to there, very much a controlled media in the same way that we do over here. But the exciting thing about the internet is that you can see other opinions now. I mean, our website is the biggest political website in the country. We get more hits than the main parties.
Really?
Together, yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a massive site. We couldn't cope with it.
I'm sure they're trying to think of a way to shut your website down, like you mentioned before.
Well, it's funny you should say that. That we had an attack. Somebody paid the Russian mafia to launch a denial of service attack on us recently. We've had to adopt all kinds of methods to protect our servers and to reroute our servers. We couldn't have servers in this country because they'd be shut down.
Can you sketch out how you see the growth of the BNP over the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
It's a difficult one, really. We've probably got an election next May, and there are a number of constituencies where we feel we could do very well, very well. If we could win one of those constituencies, then that would set us up for a period of growth. There's no two ways about it. There's a scandal here about MPs' election expenses that's not going to go away. I'll tell you about that, give you some example. I mean, has it hit America, the fact that all our MPs were basically on the fiddle?
I love that expression. I have not seen a report of it yet.
Well, there was a huge series of headlines about that. The Sunday Telegraph got hold of the list of some of the allowances that these people have been claiming, and some of them were just unbelievable. It's all very well claiming for petrol, perhaps, or for overnight hotel accommodation in some low-grade hotel that you have to stay in, or motel or whatever. But these guys were claiming for moat maintenance, for instance, duck houses, £8,000 Bang & Olufsen televisions. The list is just endless. Pornographic films. And it's exposed Westminster. It's done enormous damage at a time where we've got our troops in Afghanistan being blown to pieces and brought home in boxes. Much like America, at least you guys provide your troops, although we don't agree with the war, but at least you provide your troops with proper equipment. we can't afford helicopters. We can't afford to provide the helicopters to medevac people out. And this at a time when you find that the MPs are claiming millions of pounds furnishing their own homes. It's appalling. It really is.
It's the same here. We can't afford all these foreign wars. People are increasingly going into the poorhouse here in the States, and we've got all these wildly expensive wars. Well, I tell you just got to wonder why all this is. MPs, they comprise the parliament. Is that right?
Yeah, there's about 600 or 700 of them, mostly Labour, although I think the current batch, not many of them will be back next time because of this expenses scandal. A lot of them are standing down. They're so ashamed or feel that they simply couldn't win. But it's a
similar body to the U.S. Congress. We've got 535, and so you say about 600 MPs. There's some similarity there. But we've got
about 600 or 700, something like that.
We've got 300. I think our population in the U.S. is 300 million or something like that. Maybe it's more now. I don't know. What's the population in England?
In England, it's about 50 million. Something. There's a few million in Scotland and a few million in Wales and Northern Ireland as well. But the population of the country at the moment is around about 60 million. But that's set to rise to about 75 million. Of course, we haven't got the space. I mean, I've been to the States.
Yep.
On many, many occasions, and I'm always impressed with just how big the place is. It's enormous. We just don't have the space that you have.
But all our people are crowded, unfortunately, in urban areas, and our vastness doesn't seem to be exploited the way it should. Let me ask you personally. You're kind of a behind-the-scenes guy, but what are your personal ambitions, career-wise?
Well, I never thought that I would ever be able to make a career in politics. It was always something that I had to do because I was so upset with what was happening to the country. But now opportunities have opened up. I mean, personally, I missed out on being elected as an MEP in the West Midlands, that's central England, by not too many votes, which was a bit of a shame because it's a difficult thing to do to get elected for the BNP. It's all very well and good getting elected telling lies, but when you try and get elected for telling the truth, it's a hell of a mountain to climb. And if I'd have managed to have done that, then...
Do you expect to win one day during your lifetime? Member of Parliament?
I don't know. I think I'll have a chance next May. I'll have a chance. That's all I need, a chance. If someone was to say it's physically impossible, then I'll be a bit upset. But I have got a chance. But whereas with me, with the European elections, I took a lot of flack for the other parties. When we used to, in the Second World War, when the British bombers used to go over and bomb Germany, some of the planes just went out there to take flak so that the main strike force could get through. And I like to see myself sometimes as the one that takes a bit of the flak. And they all have a go at me and say, oh, you weren't elected. And I can have a wry smile to myself and say, yeah, but we got 2 through. Thank you very much.
That's brave. That's brave because the risks are real and profound. I'm still trying to figure out the Barking election coming up soon and the Westminster. Did you choose that, or is that somewhere you live, or is it just you can just choose wherever you want to run?
Well, we've got 12 councillors in Barking. There's another battle that'll be down there as well, which we could actually run the council if we get people elected. There's a lot of support there. There's a lot of support from Londoners, real Londoners, and it's an area where the Labour Party are bringing in a lot of people from Africa who are there. It came out recently in the paper that there's no fiscal reason for mass immigration. Labour have done it just to impose a multicultural society. In other words, to import voters to keep themselves in power and to break up our nation. This is beginning to come out and dawn on people now, and I can't emphasise just how serious that is. It's a very, very serious business.
Do you see the BNP as continuing to grow at the expense of the Labour Party in the old white working class Labour heartlands?
I think so. I think we're going to wake up after the Thursday election night with a Conservative government. That's just the way things are. We have a Tweedledee, Tweedledum set up here. But Labour will be so discredited, then they are really, I think they're going to struggle for their survival. They're not raising the kind of money that they have done.